Our parents knew a little lesser than that, and we know a lot lesser than that. And perhaps our children may never get that heritage. Here at Vishwa, we have people who tell us how to use the household items like curry leaves or neem or lemongrass, for what ailments, etc. Similarly, we have talks on art and culture. We would like to have our Indians to be united, be one, be proud of their culture, their heritage. We have a lot of talks where people from various walks of life have come forward and spoken about various buildings, various dance forms, etc. These are two examples I have given. We cover 12 causes like this in our Vishwa talks. As a first step, we want to bring in awareness among the coming generation. Our audience is across the country and sometimes abroad too. We have a rich interactive session after the talk is given by the expert. It's for any person who watches these talks to decide what they want to believe in, what they don't want to believe in, and if they have any clarifications, they're free to ask questions. After this, we want to build the skills of the people of India. Today, India is on the cusp of moving into one of the top countries of the world. But unfortunately, the skills of our people do not match our aspirations. Here at Vishwa, we started out in a small way. We started with computer training. Fortunately for us, Rotary and some people have donated computers to us. We teach 10th class students, inter students and degree students so that when they go for jobs, they don't get rejected. We teach the basics like Excel, Doc, ChatGPT, how to market. The basics we teach because most of them cannot afford computers and they have no access to them. And similarly, we have something called celebrations. Celebrations is celebrating your loved ones on their anniversaries, on their birthdays, on their death anniversaries. You can contribute to any of the causes that Vishwa showcases on its platform vishwa.org. You could every afternoon on Fridays and it makes a lot of difference. There's similar such fundraisers. Please feel free to celebrate your loved ones with any of these causes.
Vishwa's commitment towards zero waste and the long way to go in achieving the goal begins with our material donation drive. Conducted twice a year during Diwali and Ugadi in Hyderabad, this drive collects clothes, books, toys and other used or semi-used items for the underprivileged. Contributions from over 615 plus families have benefited around 2,800 individuals, providing essential items and support, bringing hope and dignity to them. Through these efforts, we transform the waste of some into the treasure of others, promoting sustainability and community welfare.
Namaskaram. A very good morning and a warm welcome to Vishwa Talks. My name is Trishant and I thank you all for attending today's event on Zoom. And to those watching on YouTube Live, for those of you who have attended a Vishwa Talk before, a warm welcome back. And for our new joinees, here's a little bit about us. Vishwa Talks is here to create awareness amongst people and to protect our social heritage and to let people make their own decisions. Here we invite experts to discuss and explore diverse opinions, different perspectives, various issues, problems, and their solutions on various fields including art and culture, healthcare, ecology and environment, education, and many more. So far, we have covered over 180 talks. Each webinar is an interactive session with a deeper understanding of the topic at hand. If you miss any part of the session or would like to go through the previous sessions, please visit our website vishwa.org or Vishwa Talks YouTube channel for a full library of the past Vishwa Talks on various interesting topics. It is with immense warmth and admiration that we welcome today's distinguished speaker, Ms. Kundur Jyoti Reddy, a true pioneer and visionary in the world of sustainable textiles and eri silk innovation. Since 2014, Jyotiji has been redefining the possibilities of eri silk weaving, leading the way with her renowned brand Erisri, which beautifully showcases saris, dhotis, and fabrics crafted from this exquisite, eco-friendly silk. Her daughter, Rukmini, carries this legacy forward through Arena, a contemporary brand that brings Eri silk into the realm of Western wear, featuring elegant stoles and shawls. Her remarkable journey has taken her to global platforms. She was a part of the Indian delegation with the Central Silk Board at Silk in Lyon, France, and her fabrics have been exhibited at the prestigious Sustainable Thinking exhibition at the Ferragamo Museum, Florence, as well as Premier Vision Paris. Under the Maison d'Exception category, her creations even graced the Louis Vuitton Design Library, a testament to her artistry and innovation. She has represented India at the International Folk Art Market, been nominated for a national award by Weavers Service Center, Telangana, and was recognized among the top 130 women transforming India, truly embodying creativity, purpose, and perseverance. Beyond her professional excellence, Jyotiji is also deeply passionate about reading, poetry, Vedic chanting, singing, yoga, and Tai Chi, finding balance between craft, culture, and consciousness. Today, as we listen to her inspiring journey, we celebrate a woman who continues to weave not just silk, but stories of sustainability, empowerment, and beauty, one thread at a time. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Jyoti Reddy to Vishwa Talks. As we dive into today's interesting discussion, I would like to inform the audience that our speaker will be taking questions from you after the main talk. So please leave your questions in the chat box or use the raise hand tool, and we will allow you to ask your question in person. I request everyone to turn on your webcam for the interactive part of the webinar. Request you to keep the questions concise and short. Kindly ask one question at a time so that the other participants get a chance to. Please limit the interaction to questions, and you can share your experiences, opinions, and perspectives in the chat box. So without further ado, let's welcome Mrs. Kundur Jyoti Reddy as she shares her inspiring journey and valuable insights into the magic of Eri silk, traditionally known as Ahimsa silk. Good morning again, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and hello. So, how many of you have really heard about Eri silk or know about Eri silk? That would be good to know from the audience. Trishant?
I've just recently come across it through Shravani, ma'am.
Okay.
So I'm more curious to learn about it.
Sure. So shall we just get started then? I'm assuming that even if some of you do know about it, I shall start from the very beginning.
There's a lot of people saying yes.
Oh,
There's a few
wonderful.
people saying no.
Yeah. Very happy to know that you've heard about it. I shall tell you what I know about it from working with it for a few years now. So our topic today is the magic of Eri silk. Can we see the next slide? So I will tell you from the beginning. All of us think that this silk originated in China and it was exclusive to China. Okay, this was like even a millennium before the Shang dynasty in the 1600s BC. But what archaeologists have found recently, which is quite fascinating, is that in our Indus Valley civilization at Harappa and Chanduharo, which is now in Pakistan, they found remnants of fibers. And where? They found little beads, soapstone beads, in which they found these fibers. And when they checked these fibers, guess what? It was from a silk moth, which is indigenous to India, the Eri silk, okay, in Chanduharo. And that is so fascinating because imagine it lasted for all these years. This was in 2450 BC to 2000 BC. That was when sericulture was there. So what it shows that although sericulture existed in China, it was not exclusive to China. We had a parallel sericulture going on in India. and in the southeast of Asia. We don't know exactly if it was in India, but at that time, at least in the Indus Valley civilization, which had the wilder silks, but China had the mulberry silk. And that is how it started. So imagine our tradition is more than 5,000 years old. Isn't that fantastic? And it changes the whole story about silk and how only China did it. But China did domesticate mulberry silk and sent it all over the world. And that's how we are all now familiar with silk. So they have credit to that. But our silk, this Eri silk, was found almost 2,000 years before they did that. So it means it was exclusive to us also. And parallelly, India and China were working with silk. And that is something I found fantastic because I just learned about it. And this finding was just recently in 2008. So then you fast forward to the 13th to 19th century. So deep in rhino land, in the northeast of India, there are an abundance of castor trees. These trees are rain-fed or they take very little water for their sustenance. They give us so much, but they take so little. So while the mulberry silkworm was getting world famous, there was another silkworm, the Samia cynthia ricini, or the Philosamia ricini, which was carving its own story in this area. It ate these castor leaves and spun a unique open-ended cocoon, which was very unique to silk, as it was known. And from where the moth could fly away. So this was a very special silk, which happened only in this part of the land. And this silk, next slide, please, because only empty cocoons were used to make this silk, it is known as Ahimsa silk, or peace silk, or cruelty-free silk. Because there's no other way this silk can be made. The mulberry cocoon, as you see, is a whole cocoon over here, the oval. And you see the Eri cocoons being flat. So what happens is, there was never a worm inside when you boil the silk. The process of silk is the same, where you boil the cocoons. But in mulberry and the other silks, usually the worm is inside, unless it is cut open and boiled. So as a tradition, it is a whole cocoon. And that is why it can be reeled. Long filaments were possible. In Eri, what happens, they're only empty, and they can only be empty cocoons because it always has a hole. This worm was so smart, it planned its exit even before it started spinning. That was how nature intended. We did not do anything to it. That's how it is by nature. So it's always an empty cocoon when we boil it. And that is why it is Ahimsa silk. It is referred to as Ahimsa silk. And it was found in the wild. And these empty cocoons then are boiled, and please, next slide. You see how, they are made flat. And this was the tradition of spinning and weaving that was prevalent in the northeast of India, where the indigenous tribes would pick these cocoons. Then they would boil them. Then they make it flat like cakes that you see. Then they hand spin this yarn because there's no other way. It's like cotton, and wool, where you have to fluff it up and make the yarn with your hands and join them. So this yarn was also a little coarse. It had a slub, or what you call like a bump in the yarn, other than the knots that were used to join it. But that's the characteristic of Eri. And it's also the beauty of it and which lends character to it. So the people in the northeastern region, this was their way of life. They would pick up these cocoons, they would spin their yarn and weave their garments, which were usually unstitched. It was a way of life for them. Then how they wove it, even in their bride's trousseau, there used to be Eri silk. They had a shawl. And they have what they call the Jora shawl, which is two shawls woven together with a slight loose weave in the center. And I'm told they had to cut this shawl in front of the priest or at some point in their lives to show togetherness, between the husband and wife. And also every house had a loom. They would, weave and every house had designs of their own. They would put these designs on bamboo sticks to preserve them for their family. And it was called ghai, I think, the bamboo stick design panels. And those were given from mother to daughter, and the tradition continued. There's also an old Assamese proverb which compares the comfort of eri to the coolness of curd. That's the Assamese way. And it is said that if you put a baby in a airy blanket, it just falls asleep. It's so comforting. So this was their way of life. And they continued like this. And this was the tradition that kept going on. And it was a cottage industry primarily, where it was indigenous to the local people who enjoyed the silk. The Buddhist monks, of course, wore it because it was considered Ahimsa. So it used to travel to Nepal, Thailand. I've seen it in Vietnam, Cambodia, in the museums. So Southeast Asia, yes, there was silk, and this was one of the silks which was very prevalent. Can we see that, please? So this was the way of life in the Northeast. Next slide, please, Rakesh. So now in this scenario enters a group of textile technologists led by an Assamese, Dilip Barua. What was their goal and intention? To uplift a grassroots economy with local resources, meaning eri, and make this yarn, like I told you, it was a very rough yarn. So for it to have more value in terms of more productivity and consumption, it had to be made finer. So the idea was to make this yarn, through intervention of technology, finer and more consistent, while giving employment, especially to the women in the area. So it was a really noble goal. And this was in the year 2009, when Assam was seething under the undercurrents of insurgency. Now, I took a risk and I decided to join them. I invested. And soon we had an eri spun silk factory, which means the same yarn which was done by hand was then, as you see the young lady there, you have a bigger scale of that happening, and the yarns were getting more refined. So you could get more product. So earlier, when only from 1 kilo of yarn, you could get 5 meters of fabric. Today, you could get up to 25 meters of fabric. So it changed the whole economics of eri production. And while the hand-spun yarn was also in the making, with some intervention, which was not too capital intensive, which was innovative for the time, by actually using the word jugaad with the existing machinery, this challenge was taken up and shown that eri can be made consistent and it can be made finer. So that was a big revolution for eri. So from the state of it being a cottage industry, and we could get more product. Next slide, please. So this was the revolution in eri. Then we have to understand why eri is so different from other silks. It's uniquely versatile. It's soft like cotton, soft and cool like cotton. It has the warmth of a wool, and it has the matte, subtle sheen of a silk. And it can look like a linen depending on how you weave it. So it's almost like a magic fiber which has everything and can look so different depending on how you treat it. So you wonder, is this eri? Is this eri? Is this also eri? That's what I found out. Of course, it's earth friendly, it's environment friendly, because these worms feed on the castor plant, which is, as I said before, drought resistant or rain fed, or takes just barely, an inch of water per week, compared to, when you process cotton, you need like some 20 to 40,000 liters of water for mulberry. So each has its space in the universe, but eri contributes in this way, where it takes very little water. So it's nice. It leaves a low carbon footprint. And even in the making of eri, it's very easy to wash off the gum that is released by this particular silkworm, compared to other silks where you A lot of times you have to use a lot of chemicals. And also it's very resilient. It combines very well with other yarns. So you get varied products. So just to understand, let's look at the other silks about it. Let's look at the other silks so that we get a perspective of Eri in the scenario. So there are more than 30 silks in the universe. But those are all not so well known, and because they're also not very easy to harvest. Like you must have heard of spider silk, the spider's web silk. That's supposed to be really strong and very, very high in tensile strength. And some people are trying to harvest that, but that is, limited. Similarly, there's something called sea silk, where the sea mollusk attaches itself to the ocean bed through these strings, and that has been harvested. Then you'd have heard of lotus silk, that is from lotus stems from Thailand. So these are some general silks, but mostly what we know of as natural silks in the world are mulberry. As you see, mulberry, the whole cocoon. You can also see it on your slide, later. And this particular silkworm, Bombyx mori, it eats the mulberry leaves. So we have to understand that each silk is from a different silkworm. It eats the mulberry silk, the leaves, and it spins this whole cocoon, and it gives us this kind of a long filament silk. You see this? That's whitish here. Then you have the wild, this tussar, eri, muga. These are called Vanya silks or wild silks, the forest, where you find them in the forest, by the Central Silk Road. This has been classified as Vanya silks. Now, tussar, this particular silkworm, Antheracia milita, it eats the oak leaves and found mostly in the central part of India. Mulberry, as you know, is all over the world because it's been domesticated. Now, tussar is found only, and also all over India, mulberry. Tussar is found in the central parts of India. It originates there. And it is also a stiff, kind of a roughish, yarn. Not easily pliable, but it's quite attractive. It has its own natural wild beauty, and it's beautiful in its space. Then let me go to Muga first. Muga is the golden silk. This silk is naturally golden color. And this particular silkworm, Antheracia asama, eats the leaves of what we call the som or the saul plant, which is found in the northeast. And depending on, it's so wonderful, which part of the tree, the leaves it consumes, the sheen of that gold, changes a little bit, but it's always golden color. I can show you the yarn here. See, this is the Muga yarn. It's extremely high in tensile strength. It's very UV resistant. It is the only silk I have found which does not fray with the sun. It will not, any other silk curtain you hang, it will disintegrate after some time. This one will not fade, neither will it fray. It is so hardy and so wonderful. It, in fact, because it's a northeastern silk, I work with these two. What I've been told is that the British used to make parachutes out of it. It's so high in tensile strength. And when it landed, the European woman would cut it up to make dresses. It is so strong. Okay, so it's a lovely, lovely golden silk, naturally gold. Then, and of course, now in Assam, it is used for mekhla chadars, for brides, during their wedding. Then the Ahom kings of Assam, they propagated it. It was a royal fabric. Then we have Eri. This is what we have worked with most. This particular silk, as you see, this cocoon is flat. You see the others and you see this one. This is how it is, and that's how it is boiled. So this particular silkworm, Samia cynthia ricini, eats the leaves of the castor plant, and it spins this very, very, very nice, soft yarn. It's so soft. In fact, one of my weavers from Banaras, when I was trying something, he said, he felt it like this, and he said, "Ye to pashmina hai," he said. So I was like, "Oh, really?" No, so But the point to note is that it's also like a wool. And that is why, it's also like a wool. So that's why I think he also figured that. And it was nice to hear it from somebody who did not know what it was, that, you are noticing these other properties also. So then, so this is the silk we have been working with. Can we see the next slide, please? Next slide. So now these are the four generally known silks. Now, besides this, we have heard of different silks, right? You have heard of raw silk, matka silk, dupion silk, kattan silk, kora silk, gajji silk, satin, crepe, chiffon, organza, pat silk. So what are all these silks then? So I was also confused for a long time. So then when I checked, each of these silks actually are derived from the most common silk, mulberry. So mulberry silk, when it is harvested, it is graded. So from those graded silks, they make the very fine silks, which are sheer, and also in the way the yarns are twisted in the spinning process, you get all these different qualities. Like matka is the very raw, degummed silk. The raw silk is the degummed silk, which is kind of flat, not shiny, even though it's mulberry. Matka is the waste of mulberry. After the fine yarns are taken out, they spin that, and that is matka silk. Dupion is when two cocoons of mulberry spin together. You get they call it bivoltine, where you get this particular kind of yarn, which is two together, and that's why it's called dupion. This is used for cushion covers, wedding gowns, and all you have seen that. Then there's kattan, which is like a sheer opaque silk. Then there's gajji silk, that thicker, shiny, where you see in a lot of the blouses and all that. Then you have satin, crepe, chiffon. Now, satin, crepe, chiffon, these are weaves. When the silk is woven in a certain way, you get these kind of weaves. So weaves see this in the form of mulberry. So it is mulberry satin as of today, but we have also developed an airy satin, which is quite fascinating. Then you have organza, again from mulberry. Pat silk is also from, so these are all mulberry silk. Just to give you a perspective of different silks, because I was confused, I thought it'd be nice for everybody to know. Then what is these other silks? Maheshwari, Banarasi, Chanderi, Mysore, Kanjivaram, Uppada, Pochampalli, Gadwal. What is this then? These are also silks. Then what are these? So these silks are also made with mulberry mixed with cotton, like in Maheshwari. But here they are specific to a geographic region, because there was patronage there, either the royalty over there, or the people, or the people who had power there. They patronized them and encouraged these silks. So that's how these developed in those areas with specific techniques, which may have come from other lands, through travels. So you have the Maheshwari, where you see the two-side border. You have the Banarsi, which we are all familiar with, which is again from mulberry. Then you have Chanderi silk, you have Mysore silk, you have Kanjivaram silk, you have Pochampalli, which is specific to Pochampalli. Pochampalli is just an ikat weave. Ikat is a technique. Pochampalli is a town. So the ikat weave is prevalent in Pochampalli and was propagated. So that's how it became Pochampalli silk. So similarly, Kanjivaram, in that area, it was propagated. So Kanjivaram. Mysore silk was again promoted by the king over there, the Vadiyar Raja. That's how it became Mysore silk. Then Chanderi. So similarly, so this is just for a broad understanding, so that we know, this is all mulberry so far, and these are the different silks. Next slide, please. So then let's come back to airy and understand what is it about airy? Why is it so fascinating? And so first thing, it is uniquely isothermal. It keeps you cool in summer, warm in winter. It has all weather comfort. Which silk does that? I mean, normally you would say you wear silk only in winter, right? But this one has all weather comfort. And also, I guess, since it doesn't shine, like that shiny shine of mulberry, it doesn't shout, I am a silk, you can wear it also more and more, in different ways and different formats. It's highly breathable. It will breathe. You'll feel so comfortable. And usually once you wear airy, you don't want to wear anything else. Your hand will just go to the airy garment from the cupboard. That's what I have noticed. It has very good crease recovery, meaning, okay, you wash it. You can, depending on the garment and the colors and all used, you wash it with a very soft soap, let's say at home, and no harsh detergents, nothing harsh. It is a silk. You treat it as a silk. And then you dry it, say, it will be crumpled, but you iron it. The rest of the day, it will stay like that. From morning to evening, it will be like that. You take a nap in the afternoon, get up, it will be like that. This is what I've noticed. So also, like yesterday, a friend called and said, this is my airport sari. I'm going to wear it to the airport because I have to go to an event after, and I know this will stay. So this is what I have heard, and I have worn and understood that it is like that. So I find it great. It has very good crease recovery. It is easy care, like I mentioned. You can, earlier also silks were washed at home, generally silks with soap nut powder. You don't treat it with harsh chemicals or detergents ever, but mostly depending on colors and technique, you have to, we recommend dry cleaning. But everyday clothes can be, in some cases when specified, washed. And it has a wonderful drape. You normally, when you're tying your sari and all, you have to struggle. Somebody has to put the pleat down, make the pleats and all that. Here, what we found is it just drapes so easily. You just, and you don't have to struggle with all. It has an easy drape, a very good hand. Nobody is known to have become allergic with airy. Like wool, it has the properties of wool, but it doesn't have the itch of a wool. Wool sometimes can itch, it doesn't. It's good in UV protection, like a lot of silks. It absorbs. If you're sweating, it will not, kind of be sticky. It will absorb. It will also wick away the sweat. The sweat will go away. It has wicking properties also. So that's why you understand how unique it is. Next slide, please. So in this unique silk was being used in this particular fashion. You see the traditional airy saris and their chadars, shawls. This was the tradition of airy all along in the Northeast. And they are beautiful. And they were worn for their weddings and everything. But understanding all these lovely properties of airy, in my mind, I thought everybody should be wearing this and more often. So it has so much potential, so much versatility. Why not try and explore more possibilities with this yarn? Anyway, I was involved with this yarn, and I figured we have to show how it works. So I started since 2014. I started innovating. Next slide, please. I started working with this yarn. I started, picking anybody, any willing weaver became my target. So initially, I would coax them to use it in the weft because it's kind of slubby. It's difficult. Why bother with something new? Nobody wants to. First of all, it's a headache. So it was a lot of struggle trying to get people to use. Being from Telangana, I reached out to a ikat weaver from Pochampalli, as we know it as Pochampalli silk, but done in Puttapaka. That is the village actually. So he was willing. So we tried it in the weft. Then we saw that it worked and it looked nice. Then we felt the sari was heavy. So in this way, we kept on looking at different weavers. So over the years, I kept on meeting people, going to villages. I met so many wonderful people who shared their knowledge so generously with me. I have no academic background in textiles. So it was all learning along the way from weavers, people who were, good enough to share and just chatting. And we then, so we had to build trust in them to work this. And we started working with all the heritage weaves in different states. So our innovations in airy silk, I'd like to share with you what we did. And we found that every weave took at least 2 years by the time you titrated everything. So today we have airy paithani. This is all done with airy. We have airy Kanjivaram. Like I mentioned, Python is a town, which was done with mulberry yarn. So we introduced the airy yarn to it, more because of all these wonderful properties I told you before. And I said, let's see how it turns out. Of course, each tradition, weaving tradition is different. So you cannot put a coarser, a yarn which is thicker than a mulberry into their technical terms of reed and all that. So a lot of times the looms had to be titrated so much. First, I'll go through the whole thing and just let you see what all, was possible. So then, in the Kanjivaram looms, we got the one on the right. Please, keep going. Then we had the Kota inspired. I wanted something lighter. So then it was a Kota inspired weave, as you see on the left. Then on the right, we have the Uppada weave. See, each weaving technique has so much to give and so much skill, So it was lovely to see how it evolved and how Airy brought magic to every weave just from the drape and the hand. So it just became more comfortable to wear. Of course, everything that was possible in mulberry could not because of the denier of the yarn, because of the thickness of the yarn. There were some compromises we had to make. But overall, some were superb, like the kalamkari, I thought was fantastic. It took the color so beautifully. And as you see, it was, I was quite amazed at it. Of course, in terms of design and colors, we give it so that it's more, it's something, everybody would wear. And there is some aesthetic to it, which we thought would classify as a higher value product. Then we tried natural dye block print. So I went to Machilipatnam and met this lovely, wonderful gentleman, Ishwaradu, who showed me all his weaves. And we had that. Then we had airy jacquard, as you see, all the booties next. So this is just different. Yeah, go next, please. This is airy ikat, as you see in our, and because airy didn't have so much of a shine, and we want to justify the price, we added zari also, airy jamdani, airy cotton. Next. So these are just different varieties for you to understand. We used the traditional Assam motifs and just created a new look over here. Then we had airy linen inspired, which had the look of linen, depending on, how I combined the yarns and the different counts. Next. Next, please. So this is just an overall view of the qualities that we did. And we developed dhotis, I forgot to mention, for men. And also, since it's an Ahimsa silk, we developed the dhoti case for the community they are willing to use. I know earlier they used to use matka, which is a spun yarn. So this turned out beautiful and it's become quite popular. So we have a lot of kurta materials and extra, etc. Now for men also. Please, next slide. And then having done all this, we had to be recognized, and somehow, word spread just through an email or whatever. And then we got some recognition and validation of our product, which gave us more confidence to work more. So we were invited to the Sustainability Thinking exhibition in Florence, Ferragamo Museum. And that was a wonderful experience where we hung natural dyed airy. You see that? And those cocoons are by somebody else, but the fabric behind is ours, which is a beige color. You're seeing more of the pillar, sorry, but it's hanging right there. Then we had, displayed in Made in Town Paris, which is an exclusive Paris showroom for a month. And we did what is called like the airy fur, where we combined 2-3 weaving techniques and we created airy fur. That was so amazing, that whole experience. That will take another, session, so I will skip, but just to show the possibilities. It was amazing, like ikat with cutting techniques and jacquard, and then, it really looked like a fur, but not heavy, and, with Ahimsa silk. Then, of course, we got invited to the International Folk Art Market, which was another wonderful experience, seeing so much craft, and it inspired us more. Then, like Trishant already mentioned, we were at Silk in Lyon. Then we got chosen for the Premier Vision Paris, Maison d'Exceptions, where my daughter accompanied, and, she saw the possibilities and now working towards a Western garment line.
I think we've lost audio.
Working with the looms was not
It's
easy.
back. It's back. It's back.
Okay, and so I'll just continue speaking. So working with the looms was not easy. Every loom had to be titrated. We had to adjust the reeds, we had to adjust the pick, we had to make sure the weight of the sari was correct. We had to make sure the weather conditions, the yarn behaves differently in the weather conditions. So it would, crinkle sometimes. And then I would hear from the weaver, Amma, this is happening. So we had to constantly be, innovating. And it was very, very challenging for the most part. But it was exciting also, and it was a learning, and we tried to document as much as we can for anybody else to weave with it. So then we developed all these different qualities, as I said, but always maintaining the essence of Airy. And what is that? The all-encompassing comfort. To whom? To the wearer, right? While supporting all these other causes, yes, it gives utmost comfort to the wearer. Now, what is comfort? What is comfort? What is comfort as you know it? Comfort in clothing. There are 4 aspects to it, according to me. Physical or the tactile comfort. When you touch a fabric, what do you feel? Is it soft? Is it rough? Is it pokey, itchy type? Then the physical aspect, that is the tactile part, the feel. Then the physical part, how is it draping? Like I said, the fall is so good. Then how is it crumpling? Does it crush too much? Is it stiff? Is it pilling? Does the thing come out? So these are all the physical aspects which are obvious to the eye and to the touch, to the senses of, eye and touch. Then you have physiological comfort. What is physiological comfort? You see, anything you put on your skin, a fabric, it is a layer which is between your body and the outside environment. So it creates the microclimate for you, So it's very important how you pick that. So how do you pick? You have to check. Is it breathable? Is it absorbent? Does it absorb sweat? Is it moisture wicking? Does it keep me warm or cool? See, all these aspects. Is it UV resistant? What does it do for me to maintain my thermoregulatory system, meaning my microclimate? Simply put, how comfortable I am in this fabric, which is protecting me from the outside. Now, let's say it's very cold outside. You will wear a heavy winter jacket, but that lining of that jacket doesn't have absorbency, and your body will generate heat, so you'll sweat. What will happen? That even though the outer layer of the jacket is very powerful in its function, it's not going to be as efficient, right? Because it's not absorbing inside. So it's very important to check what is the function of this garment, how is it going to serve me, and what are the qualities I have to look for. Next, please. Then you have the psychological aspect. How am I looking in this? That is important. Now, I can tell you all these stories, but I put it on me and I say, not looking good, or this color doesn't suit me, or you have this perception from childhood, this color is not going to suit me. My mother always said this, or somebody said, so what, what is it? So you have to, it's basically what you're thinking when you're buying that fabric, how you're feeling, that how I'll be perceived or how you perceive yourself. The heritage craft had to come down, so it distracted me. Moral comfort. Then we have moral comfort. What is moral comfort? See, when you're buying something, you must think, who is this going to support? Is it handloom? Is it powerloom? Is it ethically sourced? Who made it? Is it made in proper conditions? Are children employed? Does it support a heritage craft? Something ancient? It has so much value then. Does it harm the environment? Most importantly, because fashion is such a polluting industry, you want to pick things that do not harm the environment for sure. Who does it support when I'm buying this? So what I think is that products with intrinsic value, which, when you buy, you don't feel guilty, you feel good. This is going to be durable. Imagine Airy lasted in those beads for how many years? It's a durable thing. It's something I can use. So let me buy with awareness that all these comforts come in. Next slide, please. So, airy is all encompassing in comfort like this. And that is why I was so drawn to it. And I felt it's great. And I came across this lady's work, Kate Roberts. She proposed what is called the donut economics, and which a lot of the other Nobel Prize economists applauded her for this, where she likened the donut ring to the safe and just space for humanity. So she says all businesses and all choices should be made with a conscience. So humanity has to meet all its basic needs. And so she said that the hole in the donut represents all our needs. Okay? Water, food, clothing, health, everything. Then that circle, the green circle, is where we need to operate. If you cross that, you start hurting the environment. So when you're meeting your needs, you make sure you stay within those boundaries where you meet your needs. You don't fall short. There shouldn't be poverty. At the same time, you shouldn't exceed the boundary so much that you cause harm to the environment, which eventually, of course, causes harm to you. So I found this very engaging and very thought-provoking, which I felt I should share. Because for me, working with AIRI signified all of this. And it kind of fit the bill. I didn't know about this then, but when I ask myself, why am I struggling, so much when this yarn is not working, the weavers are saying, "Ayyo, Amma, what is this?" and all. Then I think, okay, it makes sense. It's supporting some people. We've sold, more than 18,000 saris so far. People come back saying how comfortable it is, how they feel so good. And then there are fabrics, and there are so many people, I feel, maybe benefit from it in terms of comfort. So it's impact in many ways. And so it has a lot of meaning for me. And I wish everybody chooses as wisely, and especially for their clothing, because, we talk about that more. And definitely you should experience AIRI to understand it, and make the right choices, for you, for the environment, for your children, and for the world. Thank you. I'd be happy to take any questions. I may not
Thank you
have.
so much, man. That
Yeah.
was a lovely presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And
Not at all. My pleasure. I can keep talking all day about this. Yeah.
that's amazing. Before we just a minute. So before we move on to the Q&A, I'd like to take 30 seconds of your time for a quick poll to still help us get to know you better and tailor future topics that we bring to you. A big thanks to everyone here today. Your presence and participation means a lot to us and makes this webinar a success. While you fill out the poll, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks again to our speaker, Mrs. Kundurjyoti Reddy, for sharing her valuable time and insights with us.
My pleasure.
I'd like to now invite Vishwa's founder, Shravani Mullapudi, to initiate the Q&A session. Right after the poll is done, I request the participants to please interact with the poll super quickly. Hi, ma'am.
One second. Namaste. I'm Srivani. And Jyoti, a warm welcome and thank you for sharing your experience, your insight. It was beautiful. I don't know the right words to say, but the kind of work you're doing, I knew you were doing. I know we were neighbors, but very, very inspirational what you're doing. I don't have the right words to appreciate, acknowledge what you're doing. And the way you have explained it so simply, at a time when textiles need the support from all of us Indians, at a time when the next generation has very limited knowledge about our silks, our heritage. You have put it so beautifully, so simply, and so consciously. Thank you so much about it. Thank you to the audience. There's been a huge number of people who have shown a lot of interest and a lot of questions. I will quickly, because of the interest of time, I'll quickly go through the upcoming talks, and then we'll move on to the question and answer session. Before we move on, I just wanted to thank Hyderabad for being extremely generous. Are there any videos you want to present, Rakesh? Just see. Hyderabadis have donated very generously. Vishwa does a material donation drive twice a year, Deepavali time and Ugadi time. This Deepavali, many trucks have come. Our partners, Safe Express and Geetams, have been very generous in donating their trucks for the weekends. We were able to give a lot of material to a lot of orphanages and slums and bastis and all. I think we could have done better if we have more volunteers willing to be drop-off points in different zones. The collection can be more. Every season, we're doing around 20 trucks full. Totally, we've done around 90 trucks till now over the past few years, last 2-3 years. And people are extremely happy. Is there a small video you can play? Anything from your Instagram page? Okay. So the upcoming talks is from Dr. Srinivas Rao Surupaneni. It's on 1st November 2025, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Is this talk, and then the question and answers continue for those who are interested. The topic is Beyond Beauty, the Science of Wellness, Understanding Cosmetic Surgery, Healthy Weight Maintenance, and True Well-Being. He's a aesthetic, plastic, and cosmetic surgeon, SRI Medical Aesthetics and Cosmetic Surgery. Yes. With this, I'll move on to the Q&A session. So, Rupnen Garu, please come on video and ask your question. Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just, pardon me, I just missed the first 10 to 15 minutes. Otherwise, I got a good overview of Jyotirti Garu's wonderful session. And at the outset, I must tell you, I was just asking my better half to also join. The moment she saw you, she said, "Oh, I know this madam. I follow her." So you have a great fan and admirer
Thank you.
in my wife. So I won't know you, but she knows you. Okay. Ma'am, only one thing. This Ahimsa silk, the particular silkworm, from what I understand is it's mostly in the northeastern states of our country.
Mm-hmm.
So if the feed is an important criteria for this this particular species of silkworm, can it not be cultivated in our one of these, I mean, either of these Telugu states, like a well-drained soil and perhaps not too much of extreme climate, hot winds and all should not be there. So, and considering that olive plants is what you have shown as an important feed for these worms.
Castor.
I'm sorry, castor. Okay, sorry, castor. I think even castor oil is in demand, and so why can't we, if we grow castor oil plants in our Telugu states as a feed, and considering that, I'm assuming that the soil, the climate is also compatible, can we not cultivate this in our own areas? That's the question.
Sure. In fact, it was attempted earlier, but maybe it was premature then. But today, the Central Silk Board has taken notice. They have understood that this is a silk which is actually has a lot of potential in today's sustainable world. And they are making a lot of attempts and encouraging farmers to engage in sericulture, not only in Telangana states, but in Ahmedabad and many other states, to help increase airy production. Mulberry is today the primary silk, but the next silk can be airy, in terms of its volumes and the scalability that could happen, given the current scenario of what all developments have happened and whatever introductions we've done. So yes, it can be done, and there are attempts to do that. I've also, somebody else also got in touch with me where they're working with castor and the waste of the castor leaves to see if that also can be used as feed, in more controlled conditions and create sericulture, as a feed for more control. So yes, to answer your question, it can be, and there are moves towards that. And anybody who's interested in this sericulture, the Silk Board has a lot of funds for sericulture. So you could approach and you could start your own sericulture related to airy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weather permits.
Thank you. It's very encouraging to know.
Yes.
And I think world over, I believe that people are becoming very conscious customers. They are driven by ethics when they choose products. So I think with such wonderful people like you around, I think you can do your bit for that also, to see that maybe we can export a lot of our products outside the country also.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, there is a lot of combined work going on, and that is why it is being propagated. But to export outside, we also need proper standards. Today, actually, even internationally, the standards for organic, the standards for sustainability are in the gray area. There's a lot of greenwashing happening. So, people are confused a little, but it will all get there. And we are, hopefully, yes, a lot of exports, because people are asking for the no shine silk because it's so versatile. Yeah.
Is the weather in Andhra Telangana suitable for this kind of airy silk growing?
Yeah. It is suitable. It is suitable. So it's generally hot, dry, and little bit controlled conditions you can do. Even Assam, it is there, no? So it's also hot and dry. But earlier, I think there was not enough effort. But now sericulture has developed more. The department also has worked more to support farmers who want to do this sericulture. So, anybody is welcome to reach out. And I am not an expert on the sericulture, but there are experts who will guide.
This is from Mr. Mauli. How cost effective is airy compared to mulberry?
Well, I would say it is on par today, especially because the effort it takes to make it and the steps involved add to the cost. So it becomes on par eventually in terms of pricing and all, especially if you're adding value. And even as a silk, to harvest it, it's not always that easy. You have to get the right quality, consistent quality. So all those efforts sometimes, so it's on par, to answer your question. Yes.
Yeah.
And mulberry is actually a little more now because of, the whole economy, the way it is with China and everything. And there was some stopping of mulberry yarn coming in directly for some time. So mulberry rates shot up, but generally it's a little bit up down, but somewhere there. Yeah.
Your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Arakan. I'm now from Coimbatore. I'm already a textile graduate into textile yarn business. Good. It's the first time I'm attending this kind of seminar in your organization, and the presentation was so good. I have got just two things to clarify with Madam Jyoti Reddy. One is how many days would it take to degrade or decompose, biodegradability of this airy silk? If anything, studies has been done, because that could be one of the sustainable point to discuss about biodegradability. Number two, when we call as Ahimsa silk, I would like to understand how we rate it, because here also I believe the worms would get killed, right? the silkworms? No. I just wanted to know on that aspect. How do we call Ahimsa silk?
Your first question was about biodegradability.
Correct.
Now, it is a fabric. So, and it's a natural fabric. There's no polyester or any microplastics in it. So there is no question of it not being biodegradable. And the thing is, it is very durable. That we have found, like I told you right in the beginning. Those fibers still exist. And airy silk is known to be very durable. In fact, I was told once, one Dutch gentleman, he wore a airy shirt, which he claimed he got 20 years ago, came back and said, I want the same shirt. So this is what I want. It's very durable. So biodegradable is not an issue because it's natural. Now, in terms of Ahimsa, now this is a wild silk. Like I explained, the cocoon, the nature of this silkworm is such that it only spins a cocoon with a hole in it, from which it can fly away. So that is why it has been called Ahimsa silk, because when in the making of this silk, it is always an empty cocoon. In the making of the silk, there is no point in using a whole cocoon because there doesn't exist one, and you cannot reel this silk. So basically, it has to be, done separately, like how cotton or wool is treated. So that's why this silk is unique in that way. You can treat it like a cotton, you can treat it like a silk, you can treat it like a wool. So it's very versatile.
To make, supplement, thanks for your clarification. To make it more cost effective, have you ever tried warp with airy silk and then webbed with some biosilk kind of thing like the viscose or any other material? Would it make it an affordable product for mass? To avoid nylon and polyester, which is ruling the silk industry,
right.
or ruining the silk industry, whatever the word you can use.
Sure. See, you can combine, but the point is, why would you combine something so beautiful with a polyester?
No, not polyester. I'm asking about the viscose, rayon, and all.
Viscose, see, I have tried with modal and viscose, but then it's taking away the beauty of this. So, but if you do it with a cotton, with a natural fabric, which is adding some value, like with linen. Linen will give it little more stiffness. Mulberry, if you mix, it may give little shine and you'll still have the airy comfort. Now, if you mix with cotton, the cost comes down.
Yeah.
So I really want professional women who actually wear saris every day to have this product. So I'm trying very hard to see how, if it's only handloom, you have that whole range of product for sure where you support handloom. But if you want like the average woman to be wearing this and not polyester, because it's also easy to maintain. You don't need to starch it. You can just wash it and dry it and wear it. Even ironing is very easy with this cotton, airy cotton. So airy cotton works very well for that range. If we do like maybe a power loom airy cotton and then we print it, block print it or anything, then it becomes a more mass, to answer your question, instead of a polyester or something else. So it can be done in that way. So I'm trying very hard, but the costs itself are prohibitive. And when your volumes are not that large, then you become restricted. But hopefully, when more airy is done and there's more sericulture and we have more yarn, we'll know what to make with it, and you'll have everybody being able to afford. Because I really feel the women who wear this every day and who are working all the time should be wearing not only the saris, we are looking at garments and other things also now. I hope I've answered your question.
Madam, Vishwa would be able to share some contact mail or to reach out to Madam Jyoti.
Sir, I'm sharing some details in the chat box right away. This is her LinkedIn profile.
Thank you.
You'll also be able to reach out to them via the Instagram. I'm sharing all the links in the chat box along with the recording link. So you have everything, the Instagram, the website, and the LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll shortly also drop off after the webinar. When we are sending you the recording, I'll also add a reach out address from the company.
Sure. Thank you so much. Nice of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
This is a question from Sonali Bansali. I'm keen to know, how can Eri silk reach a larger population? I suppose you just answered that question.
It can. One is awareness, and two is now with the increase in sericulture of Eri, and with improved technology to make this yarn. So now we have like almost 3 processes of making. We have the initial hand spun, which was always there. Then we've developed, like I said, with intervention, we developed this other process, cottonized process. And then now, because it's also like a wool, there's a worsted process. So you can have a combination of yarns that can make it, that can propagate it more. And once it goes into the power loom, which we are trying, so without killing the other aspects, because each has its own space, we can, because the comfort is so good, you really want more people to enjoy it, and it's our product from India. So if you do that, yes, it can be scaled. You'll have more availability. So that is the goal initially, which hopefully, I think there is more attention now towards Eri, and more people are asking, what is this piece silk, and where do we get it? So it will take some time, but it will happen, I'm sure, eventually.
This is from a guest. Are all kinds of Eri silks Ahimsa silk?
Are all kinds of Eri silk? Eri silk is Ahimsa silk. But if you're asking of a product, then you have to check if the major percentage is Eri, and if there is a blend in it. You need to check what you are buying. But Eri by nature is Ahimsa silk because of its, the fact of using empty cocoons. That is why it has been called traditionally Ahimsa.
Where can one buy Eri silk in plain solid colors?
Come to me. So,
Are you available on Instagram and people can buy from there?
We are now going to be putting up some fabrics and all, and we are slowly scaling up to that. We have some which you can dye also, like for kurtas and all. But depending on what the demand will be, we are now trying to titrate product. And of course, you can look online, and Assam, the stores which the Assam government promotes, I'm sure they will have fabrics. You can look in those stores, and get some good basic qualities which you can dye and you can wear, and they are very good too. What we have tried to do is show newer things which others are not doing with Eri, but we also do the traditional things on demand.
Mr. Himanshu, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. It was a great lecture, and I enjoyed it very much. Really great to know about the sustainability of this great fabric that you are promoting. So basically, I am also in the field of sustainability in the circular economy only. So I just wanted to understand about the circularity of this fabric. Basically, like Government of India is coming up with the new rules that is called the EPR policy for the textile sector also. It is already there in the field of plastic waste. EPR policy is there. Then e-waste recycling EPR policy is there. Similarly, battery waste is also there. So similarly, Government of India is notifying a new rule on the textile sector about the recycling after end of its life. So suppose that it's as you said, it is a very durable fabric and all that thing. So definitely it is a good thing for the sustainability that it has got a very high life of maybe 25, 30 years or so. But even after that, after 25 years or so, it has to be recycled as per the new policy of Government of India. So whether it is easily recyclable and can you convert it into new raw material after its end of the life?
Sure.
That is what is my question.
Yes, it is a spun yarn. You finished with your question, right? Yeah.
One more thing. End of the
Yes, let her answer. And then you can ask your next question. Let her come.
Okay.
So, see, it is a spun yarn. I have seen when I traveled abroad also, they take fabrics and you have these machines which completely shred garments, and it gets converted back into yarn. So similar things can happen here.
So there's no issue in that.
There's no
And if
issue
you
at
mix,
all. It's a natural fiber. Yes.
okay,
And
okay,
in terms of
that's what.
circularity, in the fashion world, what is more key is how you use dyes. How you use dyes. And for our own purpose, we are trying to be more conscious. And we did do a life cycle analysis and all with ASOCHAM and through an IIT initiative. Because if you try to do this independently also, that it's very expensive. So it's quite prohibitive. But whatever we had information, we did. And I don't think it's all comprehensive to my satisfaction. But there is a move to at least be aware. At least from our business, we try to be aware where the carbon footprint is happening. If it's in the dye segment, I say let's use natural dyes, or where we use azo-free dyes, let's have water treatment plants, or make sure there is a water treatment plant, and we encourage our dyer to install that plant. Also, in terms of electricity, if things have to be in the power mode, like if it's a spinning mill, it will have electricity use. Hand spun, almost zero, and we are very high on the sustainable scale. When I'm using power loom fabric, I know there is electricity consumption. So then we say, why don't we install solar plants for electricity? So in that sense, we are trying to be in that sustainable space. And of course, in terms of like, okay, coming a full cycle back to yarn, that's a clear possibility.
It's possibility.
Yeah.
Just one more question. If I will recommend not to mix any other fabric into this, because it becomes difficult to recycle it. Once you mix with some other fabrics, and maybe some polyester or some nylon or some other type of fabrics, so it is difficult to recycle. In my industry, I have seen that it's difficult to recycle the mixed fabric. So I will just suggest, it's a suggestion only, not to mix with other fabrics, just to lower the cost.
I would never, I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't think Airy deserves to be mixed with a polyester
that's
or
what.
any, that's blasphemy, according to me. So I would
That's great.
encourage that. But blending with other natural fibers is great. And that will not cause any problem. So I have been told, why don't you do it this way? It will become cheaper. This can happen. It kills the product. See, the character of Airy is something. Why do you want to, that's my opinion. There are people who are mixing with modal and doing products, and they do claim Airy silk, or Airy modal. My thing is, okay, if somebody wants totally this kind of ahimsa, you tell them this is what it is. You want a certificate saying the moth has flown away and you got, then you have to pay extra and you will get that. Because the market itself of the cocoons it's a bank. It's not organized. You get the cocoons and you have to buy it. But if there is somebody who's so particular, it can be done. And we have the wherewithal to do that if you are very particular. But otherwise, I would say ask the question. And if there is a slight blend of anything else to give it a certain look, a character, or for the weave to happen, because otherwise it won't be possible, then we tell you, okay, this much percentage is there. Otherwise, its maximum is Airy, like that. 90% is Airy, some, or 98%, 2% is this, like that. But we don't mix with polyester.
Thank you.
Of late, a lot of kanchi saris have become stiff and all. Are they mixing polyester?
You have to, they are like paper. You don't even feel like touching them.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know if it's the silk or if it's the zari, what they are using, but
it's just, it doesn't even last for more than 5-6 years. It's splitting.
So there is something called art silk, which is not a silk. It is a chemical, man-made fiber. So I don't know if art silk is being used in some cases, but it's easy to distinguish a good silk from a non-silk. But that's another topic. Yeah.
Because even in the better shops that you buy,
the
silk is not the same as our grandmother's
No,
kanchi sari.
not at all. That is the sad part. That is the sad part. So, that's why I kind of try to stick with this one yarn so that at least whatever limited product comes out, and if I do have to mix it with some good quality mulberry and still give it the hand, it will be comfortable for the wearer. Where ahimsa is not the big point, but the comfort is. And you don't mind wearing any silk.
Yes.
Then
So-
I will mix with the silks and do it. Yeah.
So there is this, I tried eri silk in Chanderi also, but doesn't get a good effect at the time. Could that person collaborate with you?
Yes, why not? Any willing weaver, I'm willing to work with. Yes, like I said, I would reach out and say, let's try, because for me, the idea was to explore. And once, let's say, sericulture develops a lot, of airy sericulture, then you have to make product. Otherwise, how are you going to, use that yarn? So while you have traditional airy product, I just did my small bit of showing different possibilities. So we can try Chanderi. You use, like the finer yarn, you mix it with zari. We have done airy cotton mixed together with zari. So you get the nice looks. So surely we can.
Vasavi Sriram, yeah, would you like to ask your question?
Hi, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful session.
Yeah, well,
And ma'am, so for someone like me, who had been working in software for almost 10 years and want to start their career in fashion industry, especially with the sustainable fashion, see, there are so many challenges. I've already tried exploring all this, because of the cost and everything. There is so many challenges, if we want to enter into the sustainable fashion. What would you suggest, ma'am, as a first step to someone like me? What would you suggest to do?
what exactly do you want to do? Something technical, or you want to do something like with weaving, or you want
Ma'am, I can.
just collate or curate sustainable fabrics, or you want to do you want to curate sustainable fabrics? Do you want to do a technical thing where you create a parameters for judging sustainability? There's so many areas that need work, so you can pick and choose. I mean, you are young, and you can do so much. So many people can do, because there are no clear parameters for sustainability. That's why it is becoming difficult, because to prove that you're sustainable, you have to spend. But I think if from your heart you do it right, like I said, you be conscious, you pick something consciously and say, and you be authentic to it, it will be a sustainable product. People will believe your authenticity without a certificate, from the experience. And you can then go forward and uh, work and explore which area of sustainability you want to work with. There's so many aspects to it. So you pick based on your skill and interest, and then you take it forward. And there may be some areas you like more, where you think you can monitor. Let's say you create some, like a blockchain, something where there is the provenance of a product can be documented, from the beginning to the end, and create something where it is easy to use and not too expensive. Then everybody can benefit from seeing how it is made, and then it is sustainable. So there are many areas you can look at. And I don't know if I answered your question, but
Yes, ma'am. Actually, what I was interested in to make people like me wear more of sustainable fabrics with a lesser cost. As you said, you can have airy with cotton mix, and also linen cotton is also, which is something I'm exploring as such. So, ma'am, if I have to reach out to weavers, first of all, what are the good places in AP or in South India, ma'am, where I can go and
if you
collaborate?
if you look at the map, no, every nook and corner has so many organic cotton. We have such a rich nation of textiles. It's totally fascinating. You pick any corner wherever you are, and find that place and engage with something for a long time. If you give up early on, then it won't sustain. But if you believe in whatever you're doing, and if you're there at that particular weaving tradition or the yarn or whatever it is, you engage with it, you will be able to do. So it doesn't matter south, north. If you look at the map, you'll see many things everywhere. There's so much for me to name, and it also depends which technique you like. You know, So even without a background, whatever, if you are passionate and you want to do it, just engage for as long as it takes. If you really want to be in that space, that's what I would advise. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
From a guest, how much does silk cost?
Like I said, it's on par with mulberry, and it depends on the different counts of yarn. So the finer counts will range from 5,000, 6,000 rupees a kilo to the lesser counts working between 1,500, like that.
Yeah.
We need. Yeah.
This is from Kea. Can Eri products be GI tagged?
Eri has been GI tagged.
Okay.
Eri has been GI tagged.
Okay.
In fact, Prime Minister Modi has spoken about it in his Mann Ki Baat. And he talked about Meghalaya and how it is so indigenous. It has a GI tag, and he was promoting it actually.
Okay.
Quite a bit, yeah. It is GI tag.
Mr. Shmuel, would you like to ask a question?
You hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, very interesting presentation. Thank you very much. And I want to ask you next question. How, according to your opinion, sericulture can support improvement social and economic well-being of women from poor and low socioeconomic groups of population?
Yeah, in fact, like I mentioned, that was also one of the reasons that I stayed with this business, because I saw economic, social, and environmental impact. What we had when we had the unit, we had somebody from Netherlands come by, and we did actually calculate impact. And what was found at that time, this was a few years ago, was every 3.22 kilos of cocoon supports one life. And then also in terms of how it supports women, like in Assam and in these areas, this castor and this sericulture is not their primary thing. They grow areca nuts, and next to that they have castor. Then they have little sheds where they have sericulture. So then they get all these cocoons out, and then they put in the banks and they sell. So it impacts in that way. What we have calculated is like that. So, and environmentally, because of the less water consumption, we are trying to document that also in terms of environmental impact. But I think your question was more about poverty and how it will alleviate that. So it is actually like a supplemental income for the women of the household, where they can do it in their houses itself, the sericulture part. And then as an industry, when you do it, we have found that it impacts in this fashion, where, this many kilos, like 3.2, it was like calculated based on the impact. I can share that with you at some point. It impacts at least one life. So then based on that, we tried to calculate, okay, how many saris have we sold? How many cocoons got used? So, okay, somebody's, and then of course, then you have the weavers and their weaving families, all them, they also get impacted. Then it's a good impact for the people who use it. So it's impactful in many ways other than just the poverty alleviation. Initially, when Eri was just a cottage industry and not so well known, they got a lesser price for the cocoons. Now they get a fair price because there are banks, and they also negotiate, because when the supply is low, it's like other things, they get a good price. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
So the next question is from Mr. Mauli. Weight of Eri fabric when compared to mulberry fabric, is it different? Is it the same?
See, the weight depends on how you weave it, and that is why Eri is generally a heavier yarn. So that was the whole challenge. But when you're weaving a fabric, you want it to be comfortable for the wearer, not too heavy. The traditional only handspun was more heavy. So now we try to make fabrics where there is a combination, or we use the finer yarns with some of the slubbier yarns to retain the character and make it lighter. So an average sari would be around 600 grams, 600 to 650, what we aim for when we weave. With any weaving tradition, we have tried to aim for that and not go too much. Like it can go up to like a kilo also. If it's a paithani with lot of zari and everything, like a kanjivaram which has lot of zari and it's a heavier sari, it will be heavy. But an ordinary sari which I want to wear, regularly, I want to go to work in it, like what I am wearing now, which is also airy. We have figured out some weaving techniques where we can keep the weight, within that parameter for comfort, where it doesn't seem heavy. And also, sorry. And also what I've found is, if when you actually feel it like that, it seems heavy, but when you're wearing, you're not feeling that weight. But it's only 600 grams to 700. Sometimes when we weave the heavier saris, they go up to 800. Yeah. Like in Kanjivaram and other weaves, same.
Yes. Would you like to ask your question?
Somebody else. Okay, good afternoon. Yes.
Is very successful in Ilkal, Narayanpet and Patola.
Can you repeat the question?
Is airy consumption is successful in Ilkal, Narayanpet and Patola? First question.
Wait, 1 second. Do one at a time. First, Patola, does it, have you worked with Patola? Is this question?
Yes, I have. That's what I said. So Patola is only an ikat weave. So Puttapaka in Telangana has ikat. Ahmedabad has ikat, which is Patan Patola.
Yeah, we prefer Ahmedabad one. The pattern and the color, that's what Patola has entity. Usually it is having other style of. But people who had a taste for Patola are more both for Ahimsa. One question. The Ilkal also and Narayan Peta. First, another question is very important is once the insect leaves the cocoon, is it tapped and saved or is it open in the air, and how it is protected, or the birds kills trap the insect? That is what means. मेरा कहना ऐसा है, कढ़ाई से निकला और चूल्हे में गिर गया, ककून छोड़ गया, और is it protected?
No, see, it is not protected, but it has a life cycle of its own, which it continues. And it doesn't live actually too long after it comes out. So it becomes a moth, lives a short life and dies. Now, no, the millions of moths, if whatever come out, some will come out, some whatever happens
They're
there.
natural death.
When it flies out in the wild, that is when it is a natural death. It will fly out. So the point is with airy, when you make the silk, that is the stage from which we are involved. You have to make it only with empty cocoons. Now, when it flies out, what's its protection is a little difficult to answer, because we can, the moths flying out, there are many. It's just the ecological cycle that takes the course.
Because his life is not saved. He is not in agriculture. He did not die in the hot boiling water.
That's all.
But he died in the open.
In the open, what we have is the empty cocoons. So only empty cocoons are always used for airy silk manufacturing.
Ahimsa says that Geo or Ginedo.
Sorry?
Ahimsa says that Geo or Ginedo.
Jyoti, I got his question. His question is, are we killing it? Are we not allowing it to live? And your answer is that every human being or every animal or every insect has its own lifespan. And
yes,
as per its lifespan, we as humans are not interrupting that lifespan. That's your answer. And he's got his question, you've got your answer. We're clear on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then, so this is from Kea. Do you help in finding buyers for export?
We are in the business. So we export ourselves. So we are not a service agency where we identify buyers for you, but you can reach out to the Central Silk Board, and if you have a product and you would like to sell, they can guide you. You can go to the Silk Promotion Council and become a member there. And they have what they call the MDA scheme, the Market Development Scheme, where you can go in groups and set up, booths. And you can, that's how I started actually, right in the beginning, without AD. It wasn't funny, So you can set up, and then you meet buyers that way. And of course, today you have the internet. So it's a huge, wide marketplace.
Yes. Would you like to ask your question, Papia? You need to unmute yourself and ask. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Actually, I'm Papia and I am working with the grassroots artisans of Assam since last 8 years. So we were basically working with mulberry, but recently since last 8 or 10 months, we have started working with AD and cottons as well. So I'm just trying to understand AD from which state is considered to be the best, because we are recently procuring this from the cooperatives that is from Assam only, and we're trying to get some GI tag from Meghalaya. But I'm just trying to understand area from which state is the best for making the saris or the fabrics.
I think it more than from Meghalaya is supposed to be very good cocoons, but there are other pockets also where you get good cocoons. But more than the cocoons, it is actually in the spinning process and the making of the yarn, no? And the fineness of the yarn that will help you make a finer sari or not, or determine how to combine the yarns and make
Yes.
what kind of sari you want to make.
Actually, we are getting hand spinning in the local villages. Ladies can do the hand spinning and dyeing. But the mill spun areas we are basically procuring from the cooperative societies. Basically, mostly they are coming from, I believe it is from Karnataka. So that's why I'm trying to understand, because जैसे कि टसर, the टसर from Chhattisgarh or the Vidarbha region of Maharashtra is considered to be the best. So that way, that's what I was trying to understand. Apart from Meghalaya, any other pocket, because we are now trying to get some AD yarns from Meghalaya as well. So I'm just trying to understand any other pocket that we can reach out to get some good AD yarns.
You
Mill
can
spun, basically.
reach out to the Northeastern Handloom Corporation, no? NEHDC. They will probably have some yarns. You can reach out to them, and
Okay.
they can help you with whichever qualities you want. No? Now,
Apart from Northeast, any other region?
Northeast, that's what they will have, a collection of the yarns. So then you can easily get it from them.
No, apart from Northeast, any other region, like you are from, I think, Telangana.
I am from Telangana, but I work with the Northeast only because it's indigenous to Northeast. No, we don't make eri here. That was my whole story. No, we started off with the Northeast.
Okay.
So I got involved with it in the Northeast. That's how I came to know also of the yarn. I am from the South.
Yeah,
I started innovating with it in the South by getting yarn from there and working with it here and then in other looms all over the country. So that because I was here and not in the Northeast, I was looking at how else to design it. If I was in Northeast, maybe I would do the Northeastern sari, that way only, or I don't know. But it made me explore other possibilities also. So I'm not in the Northeast, but my yarn, because it is now prevalent mostly there, we have to get it from there only.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Wish I'll meet you some other time.
Sure.
In person, because I think I'm exhibiting next month in Hyderabad. So I'll definitely will get in touch with you.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is a question from Meal Foundation. How do we see biodegradable, compostable, and durable in comparison? Mr. Himanshu, would it work for you to answer? I have put him on the spotlight and asked him to unmute, please.
What was the question?
How do you compare biodegradable, compostable, and durable?
Durability, I think already Madam has already told you that durability means the total life of the product. That is, she said it's a very durable project, means it will live for a lot of life is there, and it will have its life 25, 30 years or so, like that Madam said. So that is called as durability. Regarding biodegradability and compostability, biodegradable means anything which can be easily can be biodegraded in natural environment. That is called the biodegradable. And compostable means in a certain type of particular temperature and particular conditions only, then it is biodegraded at a faster rate. Then it is it is not a natural process, but some specific temperature and pressure and some specific conditions are there, then it is compostable. That is the difference between biodegradable and compostable.
Jyoti, Himanshuji is a old speaker of ours, and he knows he's an expert in this. So that's why I put the question to him.
Connectivities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Himanshuji. Yeah.
Thank you.
Next question is from Priya Prasad. Would you like to know if
Just a moment, ma'am. I think we've lost connection with
Yes.
Jyoti, ma'am. Just a moment. We'll try to restore it. Yeah, I think ma'am is back on line. Just a moment, ma'am.
Rakesh, please put on the
I'll prompt you
videos,
to
please.
unmute.
Please put the video, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add to the durable part. I didn't mean that it will last only for 20, 30 years. That was just a story of one gentleman, but it is a very long lasting. It has lasted for thousands of years. So AIRI is very durable. I'm not putting a timeline to it.
This is from Priya Prasad. Would like to know if your organization is open for collaborating to train local village women to set up a handloom unit in Vijayanagaram, AP.
We could explore. If there's something I can do in whatever capacity, I'll be very happy to.
This is from Jagruti Tiwari. How do we identify if it's pure AIRI when shopping? As many artisans claim it is AIRI silk, but it's not. How do we be sure in our side?
Now that is a question which happens for many silks and all silks actually. AIRI, if you have to understand, it has a character which you can tell, and usually there is a burn test for silk which you cannot do it in a shop, and then when you rub it. So whether it is real AIRI or whether it is if you understand and have seen AIRI, and then you will know when you see it, it is AIRI or not. But specifically, if AIRI is blended with something else, and unless they tell you, like I said, there are no standards. The silk mark has a tag. You can see the silk mark tag. If it is, whether it is AIRI. Maybe that is one way to see the silk mark tag and check with the, silk board, is this AIRI? Normally the silk board gives a silk mark tag for authentic silk products. But that is for general silk. So it could be for mulberry, tussar, AIRI or Muga. But at least you will know it is 100% silk and not a mix. And if they do mix, there are no clear, that's the problem.
Parameters.
Yeah, not yet, not established fully.
Okay. This is from Papia. AIRI is from which state? AIRI from which state is considered to be the best? As AIRI of Meghalaya recently got the GI.
Meghalaya is known to have very good cocoons mainly, and otherwise you have in Assam, and there are little pockets here and there, Nagaland, Assam, Manipur. But Meghalaya is the best, they say, the cocoons from there, and it's got the GI tag. But the others also are making, and it is all AIRI and it is good. So you have to just see based on, what kind of yarn you want, and then they segregate the cocoons to do that.
What about, this is from a guest, what about their silk, the silk derived from banana pit, soya pit, viscose? By quality, is it good?
Well, that I wouldn't know. I haven't used it. Like I said, how you have lotus silk, you'll have this fiber silks. They are available and, in smaller quantities. As an experiment, one could mix and see, but I have not used banana silk or soy silk, but these are interesting silks to explore. And normally, if they are the kind that brings softness to a product, since the area is already soft, I don't want to make it more pliable, so I don't venture into that space. Yeah.
While promoting the craft sector and the natural fibers through handlooms is crucial, two significant challenges emerge: the threat posed by artificial fibers and the growing trend of weavers using mixed yarns, which compromise the heritage and integrity of the sector. Can you comment on this issue?
Yes, I think the Central Silk Board is, and the government is taking, credence of this, and they are trying to put some rules. But the weavers themselves have a complaint that I hear, that customers are going for, like, if it's an ikat weave, a weave is a weave. Now, if somebody is printing like ikat and they're selling it at a low cost, as a customer, don't buy it. They won't print it. So if you want to support handlooms, don't buy something that looks like a handloom, is not a handloom. That is this craft, but not the craft. Looks like the craft. Because then you're going towards, you're killing the craft. And the motivation for the craftsman is going down to weave. Because I had a lot of weavers come to me and they said, Amma, you have to tell people. They cannot be buying prints. The government is not doing anything there. They are allowing the prints. Why? It's such a tedious job to weave ikat, the tie and dye, the yarns, the amount of labor involved. If you go and see, you will want to really pay more. But if you go and buy something that looks like it and is cheap, and, as a designer or as a consumer, you just want to use and throw and you want a look, but you don't care. That's where the moral comfort aspects come in when you purchase things. So you be aware, and that's one way you can support. Now, in terms of if it is a mix or not, that's why I just brought about the names of the other silks, just so that, you get a broad idea. But the more you understand, the more you want to understand, you will know. And art silk will be flat. Okay. A real silk will reflect. So you will know from the feel. If you rub it, there'll be warmth in a real silk. But in an art silk, it will not give you that. So, and just the feel of it, you'll know it's not natural. The silk is a protein fiber. It's a natural fiber. You will get that. So when you touch, just because it's cheap, don't buy. That's what I would say. And beyond that, I think it's all consumer driven, a lot of it. You want it cheap, you want use and throw, you want just a look. You want to, like, if you show it once, you don't want to wear it again. These are the aspects that will, determine all this fast fashion. So if you're proud of your heritage and you want to retain it, don't buy the imitation. Don't buy the imitation. When you're gifting, you give something of value like that with a story. Don't buy it just because it's cheap. Give a small thing, but let it have value and a story behind it. I think that may help to, whatever. Everything is a drop in the ocean, but we can start.
So, what's the future of textiles in the Northeast?
The Northeast is now rising in terms of the awareness of airy silk. It needs to be organized better, and where we have quality stringency, that needs to come in. Skills are there, not only in the Northeast, everywhere, but a lot of our weavers. But you see, in the earlier days, you had royal patronage. They didn't have to worry about their livelihood. They were patronized and they just, did their skill and wove, and they got their money, and they didn't have to think how many days it's going to take. They know they'll get the money. They are supported. Today, they don't have that kind of patronage. So they need to make their money. And so they also try to not do too many difficult things, not weave. They don't want their children to weave because the girls are not marrying weavers. They want to be in the city. So all these issues, what I am noticing is a lot of the centers with this generation, the younger people are definitely not getting into it. So not only in the Northeast, at least there is a tradition of weaving. So people may continue to some extent, but I don't know about the younger generations of people weaving and staying on, and that kind of motivation. I'm not, I haven't come across, very few and far in between. So what I would think is, whether it is Northeast or anywhere, it should not be family based, the weaving occupation. It can become something where people of interest who have the interest study it like an occupation, and then it's recognized, and and you train people who have the interest. Maybe they could be from prisons, from orphanages, from anywhere. It doesn't have to be a weaver's child, but you have to document then the whole weaving traditions so that it can continue where such things are not happening today. So in the Northeast also, there is a weaving tradition. They have the traditional weaving traditions, and those people continue to weave. And there are a lot of some specific products that get woven. But what I feel, what is important is to give direction to color and design, so that the products, once you weave, you need to sell. If the color and design is off, you and I won't buy it. So if there is a proper intervention but the weavers are very skilled. So I feel if you just give them direction of color and motive and say, go ahead, then you'll have consistent and good product, which the market will absorb. But because if they use random colors, usually we go wrong with color, and then it becomes like, I don't want it. But if it's an elegant color combination, you'll pick it up because the skill is there. They have better knowledge than us to weave a certain look if you just give the direction. So I feel instead of designers going for short spells, doing something and coming off, if there's a consistent, like a template every season given in terms of color and direction, broad template, it doesn't have to be very specific. The weavers will adapt. They'll stick to that. You'll get good product. You'll buy it. That's my feeling. I don't know if I've answered your question to what you want, or did more than that and or less, but that's my take on it. It's not specific to Northeast, but in general, handloom. Yeah.
Can we get cut fiber of eri silk to blend with cotton or model to spin a cotton spinning system?
Sorry, I didn't understand your question.
I didn't understand the question. We'll leave it unless the particular guest wants to raise a hand and ask himself.
Eri is a yarn, no?
Yeah.
It can be cut fiber.
Yeah.
You want to spin it in before the pre-yarn stage is what you're talking?
I don't.
Yeah. Mm.
So I think we've pretty much answered all the questions. Somebody wanted to know if they can be connected with the. Yeah.
Madam, I'm Alagan. I spoke to you earlier.
Mhm.
Do you get always only in the filament form this eri silk, or can we get some cut fibers also so that we can blend it and then spin?
Eri, first of all, you cannot reel it and have like a filament, long filament. It has to be spun. So it's only short fibers spun by hand or by the spinning machinery.
Okay.
So you can't get cut fibers. If you want to blend it, it has to be in the pre-yarn stage in the sliver or the tops, or you have to do it in the weaving stage in the warp or weft, cotton and eri.
So in the yarn, we can get definitely a blended yarn, possibly.
You could explore, but that you will have to explore large quantities, especially if it's a spinning mill.
I know.
And then that's an experiment. So again, you have to invest in that. But the idea is it can blend, but then how it takes dye may be another issue. Because the way eri takes dye, the way cotton takes dye will be different.
I understand.
So you'll have to deal with that also.
What kind of cut lengths simply we get, madam?
Sorry?
What kind of cut lengths?
You don't get cut lengths because it's a fibrous stage. The longest will always be less than a mulberry. So in the circular dressing way, which we had initiated, there were longer fibers. I don't remember numbers off my head, but I have it written down. But they are shorter than mulberry always. And so what happens is you have to, if you use a comber, you will get longer fibers, which you will take out in the spinning stage. And that will give you the longest fiber, which you can then combine. And the remnants are used the lower counts of yarn. But it is always a shorter fiber than mulberry is a filament yarn, no long.
Right.
This will always be like short. Exact length and all, you can contact me. I will give you the detail.
I want to buy some yarn and blends or the fiber to make spinning. We've got spinning.
Yeah, you can talk to the Central Silk Board. They'll gladly help you.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you, Jyoti. I just hardly
you.
just in passing, I told you that we would like you to speak, and it was so cute to coordinate with our team. And
not at all. My pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the audience.
Thank you, everyone.
You have all of you. Trishant, please take over. And thank you to the Vishwa team.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. Thank you, Shravani ma'am. I'd like to thank all of the people. There's about 57 people still in the meeting. I'd like to thank all of them for sticking around with us till now. I hope I'll see you next week with this. I'm about to announce the closure of the session. I'm also posting erisri.com, Instagram link of Erisri Silks, LinkedIn, the address of Arena and Erisri in Hyderabad, which is in Jubilee Hills, and also the YouTube video of this particular session. You can share it with anybody who might find it useful and who could also spread awareness about Eri Silk. Thank you so much for joining us. Jyoti ma'am, I'll request you to join.
Yeah.
I'll request you to join into the breakout room link that you'll see on your screen shortly.
Okay.
Rakesh has sent you a link.
Sure. I'll just join that now.
Yes, ma'am. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Hope you liked the session, and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you.